Equipment.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. 800-216-1635 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-216-1635. That's 800-216-1635. What do you have to lose? Call 800-216-1635. Again, 800-216-1635.
That particular conglomeration of athletes has played since they've been together. Luka going off 2 nights in a row. He is talking what we say on the street, cash S, every single time he puts the ball up.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio. It's opening day in Los Angeles.
Welcome, everyone, to Los Angeles, California, home to the world champion Dodgers. And what a way to start our season.
The back-to-back World Series champion LA Dodgers begin their pursuit of a three-peat when they face the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And the Dodgers chase the dynasty distinction.
The Diamondbacks at the Dodgers. Coverage begins Thursday at 8 Eastern, with first pitch at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in live here on a Monday, the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Yes, I'm back in studio. Back on a normal routine, back at a normal schedule. At least that's the goal, right? But I hope everybody had a great weekend. We got a ton to get into. Look, the thing that's interesting, we're going to talk about Joe Burrow participating in that flag football game over the weekend. I think that was reckless. I think it was selfish. I think it was stupid, to be quite honest with you. Yes, I'm coming in swinging right off the bat. I think that Joe Burrow was selfish for his decision to play in that game over the weekend, and I'm glad he didn't get hurt, but my goodness, just absolutely ridiculous that he was even participating in that to begin with. We'll get to that coming up around the corner. We'll talk about the Reds. The Reds, their roster is set. Opening day coming up on Thursday. We'll have that for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's radio home for Cincinnati Reds baseball, of course. But I want to open up with college basketball as, again, college basketball, the season is still going, but all 4 teams that made the NCAA tournament from the state of Ohio, all of them getting bounced in the first weekend. Obviously, Miami getting a huge win at the first 4 over SMU to kind of tip off their tournament run. You go 31-0 in the regular season. Unfortunately, after going 31-0 in the regular season, you lose 2 of your last 3. But that's not an indictment on the special season that Miami had, of course. But they go down in the first round against Tennessee. They got blitzed by Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee, to their credit, punched them in the mouth. So Miami gets, their season's over. We saw Ohio State get knocked out in a close game against TCU, which, of course, TCU, by beating Ohio State, all they won was the opportunity to get beat by Duke. But Ohio State season came to an end. Wright State had a 5-point lead at the half. It was a tie game with 7 minutes to go. I mean, they were dead even with Virginia. I mean, they gave Virginia all they could handle in that first round matchup. But their season, their season comes to an end as well. So across the board, all the Ohio teams, their seasons come to an end. Akron gets blown out in their final game, their first round game as well. So that's it. All the Ohio teams that were dancing are dancing no more. However, the NIT, the Dayton Flyers, are still active, and they're going to be playing basketball this week. We'll talk about that more coming up in just a moment. But I will say, I don't know how to feel about the about the NIT. I mean, if Dayton fans have told you forever that the NIT doesn't matter, but now because they're still alive in this tournament, we got to take them serious, right? Like we're going to talk about that more in a moment. But look, what's coming out of this opening weekend of the NCAA tournament that everyone is jumping all over. I can't say that statistically you're wrong because you're not wrong, but the bottom line is there was really no fun Cinderella storylines over the weekend. We were very close to seeing some cool Cinderella storylines, but at the same time, the results speak for themselves. 16-0. The favorites went 16-0, on Friday. On Friday, 16-0, into the weekend, of course. So, Jeff Goodman, he tweeted out that the favorites went 16-0. This year's first round had 13 of 32 games decided by 20-plus points. High Point was the only true mid-major still alive, and its NIL is probably the most of any team in a one-bid league. Jeff Goodman says, I hate to admit it, but due to NIL and transfer portal, the Cinderellas may actually be dead. I hope he's wrong, and he's not technically wrong based on what we just saw statistically from over the weekend, or I should say results-wise. But, I mean, I'm not really willing to completely close the door on Cinderellas just quite yet, and here's why. And if you're just joining us, by the way, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I get results matter, and the end results to these games matter, but I don't know. We still saw a lot of competitive mid-major teams over the weekend in the first round. I'm not willing to sit here and act as if that these mid-majors just didn't have a chance over the weekend. I mean, Siena led by in a 16-1. Siena led by 11 at half over Duke. Duke didn't pull away till very late. Siena hung with Duke, right? Michigan was only up by 4. Michigan, came out of the gate, sloppy right off the bat. Howard took it to Michigan. Michigan only led by 4 at the half. Obviously, they pulled away late, but Howard was competitive against Michigan. Kennesaw State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga only won by 9. It wasn't like it was a rout, right? You continue a High Point. They get the win, obviously. And to Jeff Goodman's point, they probably have, of all the one bid conferences out there, they have the highest NIL of all the one bid conferences out there. So I get it. You look at Vanderbilt, they barely beat McNeese. McNeese was right there. They had a chance, late in that game to take care of business. UConn didn't rout Furman. I mean, Furman was right there with UConn as well. It's not like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Cal Baptist. All right, they outscored Kansas 42-30 in the second half. Cal Baptist only lost by 8. Santa Clara, they lost in overtime. Santa Clara should have beat Kentucky. So, yes, I get it. 16-0. All right. All the favorites won on that day. 13 of the 32 games were all decided by 20-plus points. And then, the team I didn't even mention, Wright State, had a 5-point lead over 3-seed Virginia at the half. And I've said this before, a lot of times you get those double-digit seeds that are playing close with the high seed like that. The high seed just playing poor basketball. Virginia played very good basketball against Wright State. They shot the lights out of the ball. Wright State also shot lights out of the ball. That Wright State was countering every big shot that Virginia made. Wright State countered with a big shot of their own. So although results have to matter, yes, there was no Cinderella breakthroughs. I'm just not willing to sit there and say that the Cinderella storylines are dead because I saw very competitive double-digit seeds over the weekend. I don't know how you could say that you didn't. If you're just going to box score watch, then fine. But I saw very competitive teams over the weekend as far as I'm concerned. Like, one more time, I'm going up and down this list again. Siena had an 11-point lead over Duke in the 1 versus 16. Duke completed the largest comeback ever in a 16 versus 1. Michigan only up by 4 at the half against Howard, and Howard was competitive. I saw a lot of competitive mid-majors over the weekend. I am not willing to close the door and say that that the Cinderella era is dead in college basketball. Chris, what up, Chris? Chris Collins says first and second round mid majors get the opportunity to expose talent to high majors. It's good for the players, as far as that's concerned. I mean, look, a lot of these mid majors, the problem, especially with the transfer portal era right now and NIL, you're almost a victim of your own success. I mean, Furman will be a victim of their own success. Wright State, I hope I'm wrong, but they're going to be a victim of their own success. You saw players like a TJ Bird, like a Michael Cooper. You saw that young roster just absolutely ball out against a 3-seed in Virginia. And that's great for Wright State because they had a chance to beat Virginia, but they will be punished for that because those Hawks are swarming the body of Wright State right now after being knocked out of the tournament. That's just the reality of it. Glenn Sargent and his staff will be punished for doing a great job. That's the problem. There's a lot of problems with college basketball. But when people say that the Cinderella storylines, that the Cinderella era is dead, I just can't get on board with that. I'm curious your guys' thoughts. 937-518-1410. 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or you can text. We are live here in Dayton. It is 3:08 here in the Miami Valley. I'm going to step away for a few moments. But Jeff Goodman tweeted out, as I mentioned, I hate to admit it, but due to NIL and transfer portal, Cinderellas may be dead. I just disagree. I went down the list. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if you include the Wright State game, which I am. There were 9 competitive double-digit seeds over the weekend that took it to the favorites in all of these matchups. I mean, I don't know. 937-518-1410 is the Cinderella era dead in college basketball. Right.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies and 30 tonight. It'll be mostly sunny and 55 tomorrow. Wednesday, it's partly sunny and 67. I'm Rick Schrett for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimball Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
It's game time with Hoops and Hops at Milano's. The hoop action will be hot and the hops will be flowing with our ice-cold all-star beer selection. You got to make Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps your home court for all the tournament games. MilanoSubs.com.
The next 30 seconds could save you hundreds on your car insurance. At The Hartford, we're passionate about your protection. If you're 50 or over, AARP Auto Insurance from The Hartford gives you benefits that really matter. And you could save $597 when you switch. How's that for a little peace of mind? Visit trusthartford.com today. The Hartford, your protection is our passion. The Hartford Insurance Group, Inc. pays royalty fees to AARP for the use of its intellectual property. AARP and its affiliates are not insurers. Savings vary.
You and your family are safer when strong leaders stand with law enforcement. That's why, as governor, Vivek Ramaswamy will partner with police to uphold our laws, keep dangerous criminals behind bars, and protect your family. Law enforcement knows Vivek has their back. That's why 65 Ohio sheriffs endorsed him, including Sheriff Stephen Levorchek.
Safe streets don't just happen. They happen when criminals know tough leaders are in charge. Ohio law enforcement supports Vivek Ramaswamy because Vivek supports us. Vivek will empower police to arrest violent criminals quickly and decisively, putting trained resource officers in every school and restoring law and order statewide, so our families feel secure in our homes and communities. Vivek Ramaswamy backs the blue, so we've got his back for governor all the way.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio. Turn your tax refund into a new roof with Menards. Make this the year you check that project off the list. Atlas Roofing provides the best value in architectural shingles. Atlas shingles feature a limited lifetime warranty and wind resistance up to 130 miles per hour. Plus, their super wide design saves on installation time. Visit us in store or on Menards.com and get a free estimate fast on your shingle project with our easy to use design program.
Save big money at Menards. The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Justin Kinner with you here at 312 here in the Miami Valley. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. The first and second round of the NCAA tournament is officially come and gone. You know, we wait all year for Selection Sunday. We wait all year for Conference Tournament Week, of course. We wait all year for Selection Sunday, and then all of a sudden, boom, seventh finger. Here we are. Sweet 16 is set. And of course, what everyone's talking about is the Sweet 16 is set. There's really no fun mid-major storylines. There's no Cinderella storylines. Jeff Goodman, with Field of 68, had tweeted out over the weekend that, I hate to admit it, but due to NIL and transfer portal, Cinderellas may be dead. He talked about High Point being the only true mid-major still alive, and they're still alive because their NIL is probably the most of any team in any one bid conference out there. And yes, that's very much so true. I'm not willing to close the door yet on the Cinderella storyline and element when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And I also, what I fear is so many people talk about, okay, well, the Cinderella element, that's horrible for college basketball if that era is dead and gone. And there's a chance it could be. I'm not willing to say that yet. But the only way that there'll ever be pressure in the college landscape to reverse track to get it back to where we can get back to that is if ratings just absolutely plummet. And there was a lot of record viewership over the weekend in the first and second rounds of this NCAA tournament. And the reason that I still think ratings were high is also the same reason why I disagree with anyone that thinks that they know for sure that the Cinderella era is dead and gone. I looked at this over the weekend. I get it. The results weren't there. Final results have to matter. Siena led Duke 42-30. Siena led Duke. Siena a 16 seed. Duke a 1 seed. Siena led Duke 43-32 at the half. Siena loses to Duke by 2 possessions, 71-65 in a 16 versus 1. Siena didn't win, but let's not sit there and act like Siena, a Cinderella team, didn't have an opportunity. You led by double digits at the half. You lost by 2 possessions. It was a 6-point final. Don't tell me that, oh, man, the only reason Siena lost is because of NIL. Siena was right there. Siena lost because Duke's a 1 seed, they're a 16 seed. But Siena still was right there. Howard trailed by 4 at the half. And again, that was a 16-1 Siena versus Duke. And the other 16-1, Howard was competitive against Michigan. They trailed only by 4 at the half. It was 50-46, Michigan with the lead at halftime. Now, they lost by 20, yes. But 16-1, we should be talking about bludgeonings. Howard was competitive for the majority of that game. I don't think they were going to win, but let's not sit here and act like, oh my gosh, these mid-majors don't have a chance. You trailed by 2 possessions at halftime. Duke won by 2 possessions. Siena, 71-65. They lose by 2 possessions. Like, they were competitive. Let's not sit here and act like that's not the case. I mean, Penn in their 14-3 matchup against Illinois, it was 40-30 at the half. You trailed by 10. It was double digits, yes, but competitive early. Kennesaw State, 30. They lose by 9. They lose 73-64 against 3-seed Gonzaga. That wasn't a rout. That was competitive. All right, so that's High Point. They beat Wisconsin in the 12-5. McNeese trailed by 3 against Vanderbilt at the half. They lost by 10. They were only outscored by 7 in the second half. They didn't get routed. I still think these Cinderella storylines are out there. I still think these Cinderella teams are competitive. Obviously, they need to win these games. But to sit here and act like these teams didn't have a chance, McNeese had a chance. Siena had a chance. Lost by 2 possessions. One more shot, one less turnover. One more thing goes your way. We're talking about Siena with a chance to win that game late, as far as I'm concerned. Continuing to go down this list, when you look at the competitive weekend that was, you look at the Friday games. All right, you look at the Friday games. You start going up and down that list. All right, there were some blowouts. Yes, no doubt about it. But how about UConn, the 2 seed against 15 seed Furman? UConn was up 40-36 at the half. UConn, the 2 seed, only outscored Furman by 7 points in the second half. UConn won 82-71. You mean to tell me Furman didn't have a chance? Wright State led at the half. They were a 14 seed. Virginia, a 3 seed. Wright State led 43-38. All right. If it wasn't for Jakari White, who averages 9 points per game on the season, by the way, Jakari White averages 9 points per game on the season. He had 2 career high games against Dayton earlier in the year when they won 86-72. And then, of course, he went off for 26 points against Wright State in their 82-73 win. That game was tied with 7 minutes to go. They pulled away. I mean, it was a double-digit win, yes, or a 9-point win or whatever it was, yes. That game was close until the final minutes of that game. Wright State had a chance to win that game. They went punch for punch, blow for blow with the 3 seed. Don't tell me that Cinderellas are dead. I know results have to matter, but to sit there and say that we'll never see Cinderellas again, you're acting like every single game was like what we saw Florida and Prairie View A&M. Florida dismantled Prairie View A&M, 114-55. Arizona beat Long Island University 92-58. Iowa State punched Tennessee State in the mouth, 108-74. Purdue beat Queens University, 104-71. You guys are acting like every single mid-major double-digit game like that was the result. That was not the case. That was not the case. Alabama, a 4 seed, only led by 2 at the half against Hofstra and trailed for most of that first half against Hofstra. They were up 37-35 at the half. All right, one more time. California Baptist. My goodness. All right. They come back. They outscore Kansas in the second half 42-30. They lose 68-60. Stop acting like these teams just got bludgeoned. Santa Clara, I mean, what a brutal way to lose to Kentucky, but they had the chance to beat Kentucky. It was big-time shot making at the end. These double-digit seeds, these upset opportunities, they're there. I don't think that's going anywhere. I don't think that the Cinderella storyline is dead. I still think that that exists as far as I'm concerned. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Coming up around the corner, we'll talk about, my thoughts on Joe Burrow participating in that meaningless flag football game over the weekend. What the hell is he doing? Had a huge problem with that. I actually was surprised about how many Bengals fans agreed with me. We'll get to that coming up around the corner as well. I do want to talk about Wright State real quick. I want to give them a shout out. I appreciate them, extending the invite for me to travel with them. And be a part of the experience of the NCAA tournament. I've been to tournament games before. I've never traveled with the team before. And I appreciate, from the athletics department to the coaching staff, to everyone around, beyond appreciative of that opportunity. And, when you go to those games, I kept telling everybody that, Wright State, if you lose, you're supposed to lose. They're the 14th seed. They're the 3 seed. But if they don't lose, then, that's what makes that tournament the best tournament in all of sports. And that was one heck of a game. I mean, the atmosphere at that game was phenomenal. Virginia's backs were against the ropes. The reason that people were asking, man, Kenner, I can't believe you were actually cheering on Tennessee against Miami. I want you guys to know a little something. Wright State and Virginia in a close game, okay? I see a sea of orange, a wall of orange. There are fans over there, okay? When Virginia would hit a big shot, probably Jakari White, dude averages 9 a game, dropped 26. Still brutal. Still a punch in the gut for me, right? There's a sea of orange fans standing up and cheering. You want to know what was right next to those Virginia fans? A bunch of those moronic Miami fans who were standing up and cheering when Virginia would hit all this. Miami fans, big Virginia fans. I know Miami's trying to position themselves to join the ACC down the road, but my goodness, pulling for Virginia like that, you would think you'd be pulling for Wright State because you saw what happened when you actually played a real team. You looked like you played a real team for once. You couldn't hang. You'd think you'd be pulling for Wright State, But no, that wasn't the case. So I was happy to see Miami go down because I'm petty, just like their fans that just became fans back in January are petty. So I just want to say I saw the sea of red. I saw the Miami fans all standing up and cheering Virginia's win. Just wanted to throw that out there. But, man, that game, I'm not saying I'd rather than been blown out at all, but it was a gut punch to lose a game like that because they had a chance. Shakari White, 26 points after averaging 9 on the season. Yeah, and how about Michael Amarbe for Wright State? That's a guy that, in the senior season, last season, finished with 19 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double. He hadn't hit a three-pointer, okay? He hadn't hit a three-point shot since November 25th when Wright State played at Stetson. Since that point, he had never even attempted a three, hadn't made a three. And then he knocks down 3 threes in that first half, 5 threes total, which is phenomenal. We knew, the scouting report on that they were going to leave him open. It created a lot more opportunities for others and actually help the guards because as the defense for Virginia realized he can shoot the three, they started closing out on him. He had a couple of situations where he was able to dribble drive and get to the paint, shots to teammates. You have to pull off a double-digit upset, you have to have guys step up and make plays that normally don't make plays. Now, Marbe always makes plays, but makes plays that he normally doesn't make, I should say. And that's what you got there. TJ Burke was phenomenal. All right, Michael Cooper, the true freshman, stepped up. He had 13 points. everyone stepped up. That wasn't, oh, Virginia played poorly and Wright State hung around. That was, oh, Wright State was right there in the mix. And Virginia was still playing great basketball. They were still scoring the basketball. They were shooting really well. And Wright State, it was big shot, back and forth. But obviously Virginia, too much for Wright State to handle in that second half. Wright State loses to Virginia 82-73. Now you sit back like most teams at this point that are out of the tournament, and you wait to see how many of those guys are going to jump into the portal, and that's the unfortunate part about this. But nonetheless, congratulations, Wright State. Fantastic season. Had a chance to pull off a stunning upset. Virginia just too much, 14-3 as far as that goes. 937-518-1410. I see some text coming in. I'm going to respond to the text line coming up here in just a moment. But we'll also take your calls at 937-518-1410. We'll take a look at the Sweet 16 matchups. Actually, we can just go ahead and take a look at those Sweet 16 matchups as we sit here right now. Again, I get it. A lot of people were upset because there wasn't a lot of big upsets, right? You look at High Point. High Point was it. But nonetheless, that's where we're at as we prepare for the Sweet 16. So many big-time head coaching matchups. Sean Miller, what he's done at Texas, and you want to get Texas and Purdue in the Sweet 16. How about that? Iowa and Nebraska. But that Big Ten showdown right there. Nebraska has never won a tournament game, and they finally win their first tournament game, and they said, you know what, that was so much fun. We're not going to do it again next year. We're going to do it again right now. They win 2 in the first and second round, and they punch their ticket to the Sweet 16, going up against Iowa. Love that. Arizona and Arkansas in a 1-4, and then Illinois out of the Big Ten. A lot of Big Ten teams having success in this tournament. Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois. They're going to take on 2-seed Houston coming up this Thursday. On Friday, St. John's and Duke. Shire, of course, you look at St. John's being led by, that coaching step right there. St. John's and Duke. I mean, look at what St. John's is going to do right now, whipping their way through this tournament. St. John's is back, and the fact that they were able to resurrect that program, all right, it's not like they were god-awful, but, I mean, they weren't the St. John's of old. St. John's is back, and they're playing at those big stages. Rick Pitino just has that team humming right now. We'll see if he has them humming enough to get past Duke. Alabama and Michigan, that'll be a Sweet 16 matchup. Tom Izzo, Michigan State and UConn. Love that you can have Hurley against Tom Izzo, and then Tennessee against Iowa State. There you have it. Tennessee back in the Sweet 16 once again. But those are your Sweet 16 matchups. Fun ones at that. But, man, Big Ten galore. Michigan State, Michigan, right? You have Iowa and Nebraska. You have Purdue. You have Illinois. The Big Ten hasn't won a national championship since 2000, all right? Tom Izzo and Michigan State was the last team out of the Big Ten to win a national championship all the way back in 2000, of course. That was the year Tom Izzo and Michigan State, when they won that title, they actually played at Wright State and lost to Wright State that year. They lost at Wright State in the season that they won the national championship. We'll see if the Big Ten bounce back and get a national championship this season, nonetheless. 937-518-1410, your talks, your calls, your reaction when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Visit us today at turbotrackrealty.com or give us a call and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Coming this winter, a deal so epic, so huge, so famous. You'll have to taste it to believe it. The Homestyle Bowl Combo. Affordability strikes back. Starring famous chicken, melty cheese, sweet corn, mashed potatoes, and rich gravy. The Homestyle Bowl Combo with a regular drink. Now playing for just $4.99 at a Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken near you. Famous for a reason.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, the job works in your favor. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more on the materials they rely on every day. Get up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more, and up to 25% off Pergo Evercraft laminate flooring. Put Pro Savings Days to work for you. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling. Just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Pure first-round playoff, hosting.
That pallet of pavers collecting dust, the beginnings of a garden, those string fence posts. Are you haunted by half-finished projects on your land? John Deere is here to say, not anymore. Our compact tractors allow you to swap implements easily, and they're backed by the nation's largest dealer network. You always had the right idea, and with the right tools, those projects can get finished for good. Nothing runs like a Deere. Learn more at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Hey, Andy, you need to check out Gem City Water.
What? Another company selling bottled water?
Just the opposite. Gem City Water is a local company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. You can have pure, great-tasting water right from your own tap in your home or office. My water is tastier, healthier, and eco-friendly.
Okay, I probably should. I know I need to drink more water, and I'm so tired of buying bottled water. But how do I get info on Gem City Water?
Just go to gemcitywater.com. You'll be glad you did.
He's a husband, a dad, owner of a gym. He's also a police officer. Staying strong and pain-free isn't optional. It's safety. That's why David Boardman's a QC Kinetics patient.
My job is dependent on my physical ability and my physical fitness so that I can protect myself, so that I can go home safe to my family at the end of the night.
But severe knee pain nearly took that away. Doctors said surgery, shut down the workouts. David needed another option. That was QC Kinetics. They told him,
we're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
They used David's own healing tools in his blood to help restore his knees. Regenerative treatments right in the office.
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week.
Trust the team helping active people avoid surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
It's game time with Hoops and Hops at Milano's. The hoop action will be hot and the hops will be flowing with our ice-cold all-star beer selection. You got to make Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps your home court for all the tournament games. MilanoSubs.com.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online questions required.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Nine 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. All right. We opened up college basketball talk, of course. A lot of people making a big deal about, hey, there really wasn't a whole lot of action from some of the mid-majors in the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament in the first and second round. Like, it does seem like it's trending to where we're going to see less and less of these Cinderellas runs. Now, one of two things can happen. I don't think they're going to disappear altogether. I think we're going to see them less frequently. I still wasn't willing to bury the Cinderella era because I still think that there's going to be Cinderella teams. I still think you're going to see upsets. I just believe at this point that, because we saw so many competitive mid-majors over the weekend, that's why I can't close the door and say, we're never going to see Cinderella. I think we're just going to appreciate it even more. When those upsets do happen, I think they're going to mean even more. Obviously, the gap is starting to create itself because of, what the haves and have-nots due to the money situation and the, it's not very even across the board. But when has it been? When has it been? As much as people want to talk about the disadvantage that mid-majors are at, there's also an advantage now for mid-majors because you do have the flexibility to go out and resurrect your roster in a way that mid-majors never had the opportunity to do before. Are more mid-majors kind of stockpiling talent? Absolutely. But it's interesting because I feel like in college football, we've seen the reverse. I feel like there has actually been more parity across college football because there's more opportunities across college football. Back in the day when you had, the fact that Ohio State had a third-string quarterback come in to help them win a national championship, that doesn't happen today because Cardale Jones would have been playing elsewhere and starting elsewhere. Joe Burrow, it would not have taken him his, 75% of his college career to finally get out there to play because you wouldn't have a Joe Burrow as your third-string quarterback because he wants to be out there and play. That's what makes what Texas has done with Arch Manning so unique and rare, but it's not that unique and rare. He comes from a very well-off family, a football family, that I feel like he doesn't make his own decisions. If it was up to Arch Manning, I believe he would have been elsewhere, but it seems like he lets his dad make all the decisions for him. That's not common across the board. So I think there's way more parity in college football because of that. Is there as much depth on rosters across college football? No. But I do think that there is more because there's parity now across college football. Basketball, I still think there's more parity than you want to give. I've seen smaller conferences improve across the board. I've seen more teams in smaller conferences improve. But is the gap being closed between the small teams and the big teams? No. But I don't think it's widening as much as what you guys want to say either. That's why I'm having a hard time, when you look at the UConns and you look at the Dukes and all them, they're getting all the players. They've always gotten the players. So I get what people are saying about the transfer portal. The only thing that's happening that's impacting mid-majors is the retention. Mid-majors are being punched in the gut every year because of retention issues, because when you do go to the NCAA tournament and put on a good performance, those bigger schools are swarming and they're coming to pluck and poach teams and players away. But everyone out there that's like, "Oh, man, look at Duke, man. They're NIL. That's why Cinderella's a good." Oh, yeah, Duke getting all the good players. That's a change of scenery. No, it's always been like that. Like the Blue Bloods, what's an example of a school that is thriving right now that wasn't thriving before? Like, to me, you could say Indiana in football. To me, Indiana in football is a team that is thriving because of today's climate. That team doesn't exist in college basketball, and if I'm missing it, I apologize. I'll be willing to admit that I'm wrong, but, "Oh, Duke's good." Yeah, they've always been good. "Oh, Kansas is good." Yeah, Kansas has always gotten the best players in the country. I know they got eliminated over the weekend, but you see my point. These programs that are like you look up and down, that right now, I mean, Illinois is a solid program, has been a solid program for a while. Arizona has been good since they were cheating with Sean Miller, right? Like, oh, Arizona's good because of NI yeah, they've always been good. I guess Arkansas you could put in that category of, they've resurrected themselves because they've heavily invested, into the basketball side of things, and, they go out and they get a Calipari or whatever, but, Purdue has always been a good Big Ten team. I'm looking up and down all these things right here, and I'm like, there's not a team that I'm looking at that I'm like, "Oh, yeah, because of NIL, they're good." St. John's is good, yes, because of NIL, but because you went out and got a legendary head coach and you actually have a program now. Oh, Michigan State's good because of NIL. UConn's been winning for a while. UConn is one of the more underrated programs in all of college basketball. They win and win. They win championships every decade, going back before NIL truly took over. So as much as it pains me to watch mid-majors develop talent and lose that talent, mid-majors also have the opportunity to go and get that talent. So we're back in the day, that wasn't the case. If you're a mid-major program and you have 1 or 2 bad recruiting cycles, you're screwed for the next couple of years. You can set your program back. Like, I'll use Wright State for it's gonna suck if a team comes and takes Colin Pickett and Michael Cooper away, and you could sit there and pout about that, or you could just go and get players out of the portal like a TJ Birch who helped turn Wright State around this year, like Michael Amarbe, who was phenomenal, in the Raiders' near win against Virginia over the weekend. Those are all portal players. You could go to the portal, and you could turn things around if you're a mid-major. That's why I'm having a hard time sitting here saying that the Cinderella era is dead. I do not think that it is. I gave you the list of all the teams and the games over the weekend. I didn't see non-competitive games. Yes, there's blowouts. There's blowouts every tournament. But like I said, I think people are jumping on the narrative and saying the Cinderella era is dead because of NIL and the transfer portal. Based on what? It sounds silly, but based on what? Because Duke won? Duke beat Siena and the transfer and that means Cinderella era is dead? I don't know. I don't know. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410, ESPN Radio. This is Roger. I'm trying to see where. Sorry, I'm waiting for this to load. So you could text us 937-518-1410. All right. Roger in Lebanon. Roger, appreciate you tuning in. Roger says, he goes, well, no mid-majors won over the weekend. How can you say that there's still that the Cinderella era still exists? That was from Roger over in Lebanon. I just told you. I just told you. It's not like mid-majors weren't competitive over the weekend. Now, I did read a couple of those scores that were really ugly. All right? We talked about some of those scores that were really ugly from over the weekend. Now, if every single one of those games was like that, like Arizona winning 92-58, Florida winning 114-55, 108-74, Iowa State over Tennessee State. Purdue beat Queens University 104-71. If every matchup was like that, I'll give it to you. I'd be like, yeah, we're in for a problem. If Wright State gets come up by 30, along with Queens, along with Tennessee State, and Prairie View A&M, but that wasn't the case. Wright State should have won that game. I shouldn't say should have. That's taken away. Virginia was good, and they made big plays all game long. And White was phenomenal. But Wright State had a chance to win that game. Furman had a chance to beat UConn in their opening round matchup. Hofstra was down 2 at halftime against Alabama. Cal Baptist outscores Kansas in the second half 42-30. They lose by 8. Right? Anyways, here's what it is. I'm kind of really harping on this, but I don't agree when people say that the Cinderella era is dead. I just don't see it. I saw very competitive mid-majors. Santa Clara should have beat Kentucky over the way. There was just really good double-digit seeds over the weekend that I believe had chances to win basketball games. And you would think that, like I said, you would think that every score was the 104-71 Purdue game. Iowa State 108-74, 114-55. The Prairie View A&M, that was brutal. The Florida Prairie View A&M, 114-55. If every game is like that, then I'm with you. But that wasn't the case as far as that's concerned. All right. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. The other fun thing, and to also talk about this as well, like I believe that the mid-majors are the lifeblood of the NCAA tournament, but at the same time, no mid-majors are making a run through the tournament. I saw this article. I thought it was interesting that the NCAA tournament is off to its best start since CBS and TNT began showing all of the games in 2011. So in the last 15 years, this is the best start ratings-wise. The tournament has averaged 9.8 million views for the first 3 days, the first 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday, along with Thursday's first round, according to Nielsen, which is a 5% increase from last year. Now, Thursday's opening round games across CBS, TBS, TNT, True TV, they all averaged 9.8 million viewers as well, which is a 6% increase over last year. That's why sports is funny right now. We have Major League Baseball's opening day on Thursday. And people say baseball is broken, that the Dodgers, you look at the Dodgers, baseball is broken, right? Because the Dodgers spend all this money and the Reds can't spend any money. Baseball is broken. Well, Major League Baseball is coming off its best season ratings and attendance-wise in over a decade. More people are going to games. More people are watching games. They set playoff ratings records this past year. So if you're setting viewership records, all right, if your ratings are through the roof, you're putting out viewership records and attendance records, how is the sport broken? I agree it's broken. The Dodgers and the Reds, like that should not happen, but it's not killing the sport the way you would like to believe based on social media reaction. Oh, the mid-majors, they're not making runs in the NCAA tournament. College basketball is broken. We're seeing ratings and viewership increases across the board. It was a record opening weekend for college basketball. It's more people watch this NCAA tournament than they have in the last 15 years. But mid-majors, the sport is broken. Right? Like that's the crazy thing about it all is it reminds me, college football is broken, man. The transfer portal, just everything, college football, the playoff, everything, playoff ratings bonanza. Every time you try to convince me that a sport is broken, attendance says otherwise. Ratings, viewership say otherwise. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get it. I see the frustration. But all we do is seem to complain about baseball and complain about college basketball. But yet, the ratings and the viewership and the attendance up and up and up. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that it's not broken. But it seems to be working. It seems to be working. All right. We'll step away for a few moments. Let's talk a little Reds when we come back. Reds have their roster set. We're going to talk Bengals to open up hour 2. We got a lot more to get into. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for a clean and safe venue for your new grad celebration? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. Set the mood for your event with a state-of-the-art VIP experience in our private 8 lanes VIP suite. Booking now for spring and summer events. Let the good times roll at Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kings Ridge Drive, Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
Do you have travel plans in the future? Are you TSA pre-checked? Hi, I'm Shannon Crabtree, representing Mike Foley's Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office. I'm reminding you that you can get TSA pre-checked as well as update your passport at our convenient auto title location inside the Montgomery County Administration Building lobby.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Please visit GetTSAPrecheckNow.com to schedule your TSA appointment at 451 West 3rd Street in downtown Dayton. We do take walk-ins, but priority goes to appointments.
It's another convenient service of your Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at columbusequipment.com.
Star City Concrete is the Miami Valley's most trusted concrete company, offering unparalleled services as a local family-owned business celebrating 20 years. We offer residential and commercial driveways, patios, walkways, steps, barn floors, slabs, foundations, and much more. Star City Concrete takes pride in delivering exceptional quality in every project. Our professional team understands that needs are unique, so we offer personalized solutions that stand the test of time. Contact us today for a quote at StarCityConcreteLLC.com. You'll be glad you did.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. I'm Justin Kinner, 937-518-1410. I've had a few text messages come into the show. That's the text, by the way, 937-518-1410. That's how you can interact with the show. Text your opinions, your takes, your comments into the show, and I'll get to that in a moment. I had some people reach out regarding, to shout out Trotwood for winning the Division III state championship over the weekend. I put out on Twitter earlier today that I was like, man, they call it March Madness for a reason. I'm all about the madness. I'm all about basketball. I love basketball. That's why this is a fantastic and phenomenal city to live in. If you love basketball, you got the first four, you got the OHSA state championships for boys and girls basketball. You have the Dayton Flyers, you have the Wright State Raiders. To give you an idea, for me, the last 2 weeks, I've been to Indianapolis for a couple of games with Wright State, working with them for their semifinal and final win to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. You had, Selection Sunday. You had the OHSAA girls basketball tournament at UD Arena. You had the first four. All right. Then the boys tournament. And then to go to the NCAA tournament with Wright State, we flew back on Friday night, got back real late Friday night. And then I spent all day Saturday, at UD Arena, and then most of the day yesterday for divisions 1 and 2. 17 games. I worked 17 games in 2 weeks. Absolutely love it. And it's kind of a buzzkill that basketball is basically almost done, but it is done out of the high school ranks. And it was a headache. It was chaotic. All right. The OHSAA obviously expanding to the 7 divisions. I get it. I understand. I'm so torn because the longer that now that this was year 2 of the 7 divisions, they smartened up and they did at least bring last year they had semifinals one weekend, finals the next. And people didn't like that because it was a honor to punch your ticket to state championship weekend. And it just felt less than. The semifinals felt less than last year. And it was nice seeing teams get to state championship weekend. And the Nutter Center and UD Arena did a great job of balancing out that schedule. But in 4 days, 21 games in 4 days between UD Arena and the Nutter Center. So many moving parts, so many people. You have to fill TV spots, radio spots. You got people running around, doing stats. You got the post-game conferences. You got the TV pre-games. I mean, so many moving parts. Tim Street and his staff did a phenomenal job. But 7 champions crowned out of the boys division over the weekend. Obviously in Division I, Cincinnati Princeton, they beat Hilliard Bradley. They win their first boys basketball state championship. Their girls team, their girls program is really good. Princeton is, but Fairmont, shout out to the girls because Fairmont beat Princeton in the D1 final on the girls side last week. in a stunner. I mean, not a stunner. Both teams are really good. Kettering finished the season undefeated over in Division I on the girls' side, but on the boys' side, Princeton comes out Division I. Massillon, Washington. I thought Divisions 2 and 1 yesterday were boring, to be honest, the finals, but that's just how good Washington was. Massillon, Washington actually came down from 15. They were down 15 and came back and won that dang ball game in Division 2. Princeton took care of business against Hilliard Bradley. How about Trotwood in Division 3 on Friday? I mean, you have on Thursday, you have the game. You hit the shot at the buzzer to force overtime. They win the D3 final the next day in a close one. Division 3 was the most competitive of all the divisions at the OHSA Boys State Final over the weekend. 5 points. You had the 2 semifinals and the finals in Division 3 where Trotwood came out on top. 5 points separated all 3 of those games. That's how tight and competitive Division 3 was. It was pretty phenomenal. Out of Cincinnati in Division 4, Cincinnati, Wyoming, the Cowboys came out of Division 4. Lutheran East in Division 5. I mean, my goodness, they ended up beating, I think it was, who was it? See how the teams are running. My brain is like scrambled eggs at this point. Lutheran East beat Columbus Academy, and they blew them out. But Lutheran East becomes the first boys team in the state of Ohio to win 4 straight state championships. Lutheran East, they load up that roster each and every year as far as that goes. Berlin Highland in Division 6. I thought that was the game of the weekend. Berlin Highland and Marion Local. Okay, and Marion Local and Berlin Highland, that game goes into overtime. Big shot after big shot down the stretch. The crowd was phenomenal. Berlin Highland comes out on top in overtime against Marion Local, their best three-point shooter, their best scorer. He fouls out late, so they couldn't even get a good 3 off with a chance to tie that game late. But Berlin Highland holds off Marion Local. And then this is Division 7, 2 small schools. These are some schools that are from up north where I'm from. I'm from Van Wert, went to Van Wert High School. But Delphus St. John's, they run the table. They have the Elwer kid that was Mr. Basketball runner-up. Sonny Johnson's kid, Marcus Johnson, wins his second Mr. Basketball award over the weekend. It was awarded to him. But Elwer, the kid for St. John's, he was right there at the top of the scoring list in the state of Ohio. He just kept passing big name after big name. But he put on a scoring clinic. St. John's remains undefeated. They beat Kalida. But I was here a couple years ago when you had Pick Central and you had Devin Royal over there. And you had Cups and House, and you had all those guys at Centerville. And I can't remember if it was the final or the semifinals, but it was one of the most attended state tournament games ever since moving back to UD Arena. I don't know what the final number was. If you guys were at the state tournament over the weekend, you saw it. That Kalida St. John's final was absolutely insane. It was as loud as I've heard that arena. I've heard UD Arena rocking before. That's, it's loud for UD games. I'm not kidding. I think it was louder than any UD game I've been to. That's how loud that fan base was for St. John's and Kalida. That's my favorite part. They're the smaller divisions, but they bring their entire community. They're small communities, but they bring their entire community. And I thought UD Arena was as loud as I've ever heard it for that St. John's and Kalida game over the weekend. St. John's undefeated, and they come out on top in Division 7. So there you go. It's a busy weekend at UD Arena, busy weekend, busy month when it comes to basketball, no doubt. But congratulations to all those state champions. Trotwood, how about that, coming out on top out of Division 3. All right. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hour number 1 in the books. We got a lot more to get into. I know I said we were going to dive into Reds. I want to switch to Reds and Bengals coming up in hour 2. I see some texts coming in. I will get to those more coming up here in just a moment. 937-518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
ABS. Does that mean always bring snacks? TPMS. Does that mean tiny potholes make squeaks? AWD. Does that mean all wheels are dancing? No, that's not right. But here's the truth. Carol Wirtz Tire knows the real meanings and will keep your car safe without all the jargon. Carol Wirtz Tire. tires, service, and tire values you can count on. Find us online at c-wtire.com or talk to a real human at 937-461-5441.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Why shop the Hustler Pro Sales event this March? It's your chance to get the equipment you need for the season and save. Buy select commercial mowers and save 20% or more with additional savings from Hustler's fleet program. Hustler mowers are known for their productivity, performance, and reliability. They're built to work as hard as you do, sun up to sundown. Ready to upgrade your fleet? Visit Small Engine Service Pros on Route 235 in New Carlisle and shop the Hustler Pro Sales event today. Discount applies to select commercial mowers only. Offer valid 3/1 to 3/31. 2026. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. Hour number 2. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I want to give a shout-out to the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy and the Dayton Agonis Club. I appreciate them. They had me out today for lunch, and they actually wanted to hear me speak. I don't know who lost a bet over there, but nonetheless, no, Hal was awesome. Hal invited me out and introduced me earlier today, but just want to give a shout-out to Hal McCoy and all the great guys I met over there at the Agonis Club earlier today. Had a good time nonetheless, and good meal. I always appreciate a good meal as far as that goes. But we welcome you back. Hour number 2, 937-518-1410. And shout out to Chris Collins. Chris Collins, voice of the Raiders. Spent a lot of time with him last week in Philadelphia with the Raiders tournament run. We were talking in that first half, in that first hour about, so many people are saying that the Cinderella era is dead in college basketball. I don't think that it is, but I get there's a lot of bullet points out there. There's a lot of talking points out there that kind of support your guys' theory more than mine, with only one, mid-major making its way out of the first round with High Point. And High Point, according to Jeff Goodman, he says of all the one bid conferences out there, they have probably the highest budget as far as NIL budget, as far as any other team from a one bid conference out there. So it makes sense why they're there. But at the same time, I know Wright State's NIL budget isn't great, and yet they had a 5-point lead over Virginia at the half. And Wright State's NIL budget isn't great, but yet they had a chance to win the game late. Are you telling me that if they, had a couple more thousand in their NIL pot, that they close out the game against against Virginia? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. So many competitive mid-majors over the weekend. One thing that Chris said in the chat was that, great coaching and roster building will always give mid-majors an opportunity to win. And honestly, I do believe that the reason especially remember when the one and done era started in college basketball, Mike Krzyzewski was not a fan of that. The one coach that kind of grabbed onto that, latched onto it, and just absolutely thrived was Calipari at Kentucky. He changed the way he put a roster together. He would go into the living rooms of these 17 and 18-year-old kids with their families and say, hey, I want to get you to the NBA. Come here. and Kentucky became an NBA factory. And it was all about, building your roster with all these freshmen and second-year players and being super, super young. And that's where college basketball is going. And the reason that you would see so many upsets come March is because you would have these beyond stupid talented rosters of 18 and 19-year-olds. And then they would be going up against these double-digit seed mid-major teams who are made up of juniors and seniors who have played together for years and have that chemistry, and they played the basketball. I'm not going to say the right way as if they weren't playing the wrong way or whatever, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you would just have that cohesion. You would have that familiarity. You would have that team chemistry, and that mattered. Veteran leadership mattered in March, and that's why you would see a lot more of those upsets happen against these teams. Now what's happening is these mid-major teams are getting younger and the high major teams are getting older, because now these mid-major teams are, and I talked about this with Clark Kellogg last week. I said, I used Wright State as an example. They have two phenomenal talents in Michael Cooper and Kellen Pickett that in my opinion, and this is no disrespect to Wright State, I think that they were under-recruited. And I think that they were under-recruited because the bigger schools are not swimming in the high school waters anymore. And so now these mid-major teams are getting younger because they're getting more talent, more talented high school pieces coming in that are more ready to play. And then you have the high major programs who are just plucking players out of the portal. So now Wright State's putting in the work. Clint Sargent and his staff, they're going to get screwed because they're going to develop Michael Cooper. They're going to develop Kellen Pickett. And then the bigger schools will come in and pluck them away. And now they're ready to play college basketball because of the work that Wright State and these smaller schools did. So now it's a never-ending cycle. You have the high major teams who are older and more experienced, and the mid-major teams who are younger and not as experienced. And I think that's playing a role in why we're starting to see some of the gaps be created as well. But yeah, that's why back in the day you would see so many upsets, because the mid-major teams, they were true programs and teams. They weren't losing guys to the NBA. You come there, you develop there, you graduate there, you'd stick around your full run, and we're seeing less and less of that. But high majors becoming older and more experienced, that plays a role in this as well. But nonetheless. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. So I tweeted this out not really tweeted it out, but I observed this over the weekend. Can someone explain to me what in the blue hell Joe Burrow was doing over the weekend? Bengals fans, I need you to help me out. And to your credit, Bengals fans, a lot of you agreed with me over the weekend, so I appreciate that. This doesn't have to be a me versus Bengals fans type of thing here. But my guy Zimmy, my guy Zim Houday on social media, you all know Zim, all right? I love his passion. You can't beat his passion. We butt heads because he's the biggest Bengal homer in the world, and I'm not. So, we butt heads. But he put out this tweet yesterday that said a total of 21 former and current NFL players participated in a flag football game yesterday, but only Joe Burrow has every clip posted of him projecting him with an injury. No one else was in harm's way, just Joe. Now, Zim, I know you're a smart individual. I know that you can truly comprehend why that's the case. Your quarterback pulls a hamstring sneezing. Your quarterback always seems to have something wrong. Your quarterback is always hurt. You have an injury-prone quarterback that I think what we will all agree on, he's the most talented quarterback in the NFL when he's healthy, in my opinion. Love Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm willing to say that Joe Burrow is the most talented quarterback in the NFL, but we've never been able to truly enjoy all of it because, well, he's always hurt. He's either struggling for a chunk of a season because he's, bouncing back from an injury that he suffered the year before, or he's battling an injury. So he may be playing, but he's still struggling because he's fighting an injury, or he's just out altogether. Whether it's an appendectomy, whether it's a pinky, whether it's a wrist, whether it's a leg, always seems to be something that he is fighting, that he is battling, that he is trying to overcome. And what I have a problem with all of this is that Joe Burrow is putting all this pressure, all right, all this pressure on the front office, right? The front office needs to go all in. I find Joe Burrow to be very, very selfish. I find his actions over the weekend to be very selfish. Now, luckily, he did not get hurt. But why? Why in the world would Joe Burrow be playing in this meaningless, pointless, and I'm just going to say it, stupid flag football game? I mean, the biggest headline, can you imagine? And Joe Burrow, by the way, was taking hits. Joe Burrow was hitting the ground on more than one occasion. It doesn't take much for your golden boy, Joe Burrow, to get hurt. Why was he participating in this flag football game? And for some Bengals fans, I applaud you because some of you said you agreed and were not a fan of him participating in that at all. And for the ones who are saying, oh, Kinner, you're making something out of nothing. Am I? This guy gets hurt sneezing. What are you talking about? Why would you not be frustrated? Why would he be risking, you're putting all the pressure on the Bengals to have a home run offseason. What if the Bengals knock it out of the park and just kill it in the draft this year? But Joe Burrow, because he's selfish, because he wanted to go, play flag football in the offseason and has a major injury and is not ready to go to start the season. And now what? We're going to do that thing where we blame Zach Taylor for Joe Burrow not being ready to go to start a season like every single season? Like, what are we doing here? Don't be mad at me. You should be mad at him. I don't know why y'all have this weird cult-like love affair with Joe Burrow to act like the guy doesn't do anything, that never does anything wrong. I think it was a slap in the face to the organization and to Bengals fans to be participating in that stupid, meaningless flag football game. Can anyone tell me why he was participating in that? Can you please explain to me? And to prove that I'm fair here, okay? And I am fair on this. You may not like it, but I am fair here. When Myles Garrett participated in the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game years ago when it was in Cleveland, I hated that. When the clips in the offseason came out of him, participating in dunk contests and running up and down, playing meaningless pickup basketball games, like I get it that these guys don't just sit there and bubble wrap in the offseason. They get out there and they want to have fun too. But I get it. But can you imagine what would happen? Like how devastating that would be to an organization like Cleveland if Myles Garrett is out for half the season because he broke a leg playing a celebrity all-star, basketball game. There are so many jobs on the line in Cincinnati this upcoming season. They have to make sure it's a perfect offseason. And Joe Burrow's out there playing meaningless, stupid flag football games, and he's diving all over the place, taking hits. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I'm being unfair here, nonetheless. But either way, that's kind of where I'm at as far as I'm concerned. But let's go to the social media or to the text and the stream. So Chad, what up, Chad? Chad says, what did he do? I just told you I thought the flag football game was a selfish decision on his end. I do not think that he should have been participating in that one bit. And, in Cincinnati, like, were they aware that he was going to participate? Were they aware that he was going to play in this meaningless flag football game? That's what I'm curious about. And does anyone have the guts to tell him no? Because that's the other thing. Even if the front office knew that he was going to be playing in this meaningless flag football game, no one there knows how to tell Joe Burrow no, which is why, in my opinion, that they are in this situation to begin with, because I do believe that the front office should have said, Joe Burrow, I know you want to play with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We're going to give you Jamar Chase, but we can't give you T. Higgins. We got to use that $30 million to be able to invest into the defense so that you're not sitting at home come playoff time. But because no one had the guts to tell Joe Burrow no, he was at home watching the playoffs come playoff time. And because no one had the guts to tell Joe Burrow no, stop being an idiot and participating in this meaningless flag football game. Have I mentioned how meaningless this flag football game is, by the way? Why is he out there participating in it when he is soft and always injured? The team has missed the playoffs for 3 straight years, not because Joe Burrow isn't good. It's because he's not consistently readily available. 2 of the last 3 years, they have missed the playoffs because of his injuries. They missed the playoffs 2 years ago because they had a horrifically bad defense, which also plays a role with Joe Burrow because of him more so wanting 2 number 1 wide receivers as opposed to wanting a linebacker. But that's besides the point. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. The phone lines are open. Do you have a problem with Joe Burrow participating in that flag football game over the weekend? You can also, we're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, live on the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel. Let me know in the chat. I think it was very selfish of Joe Burrow to participate in that flag football game. We can't be sitting here and saying Duke Tobin has to be perfect with his decision-making in the draft and free agency. We can't sit here and say Zach Taylor better be perfect this year with his play calling and decision-making in the offseason. We can't be sitting here and putting all this pressure on everyone else, all while watching a guy that is consistently unavailable out there screwing around in a meaningless flag football game. I'm not wrong on this, and I'm not going to back down. 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies and 30 tonight. It'll be mostly sunny and 55 tomorrow. Wednesday, it's partly sunny and 67. I'm Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Life can be hard, so Progressive makes bundling your home and auto easy. Hope that helps. Learn more at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimball Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Ready to love where you live? The Clark County Home and Garden Show returns March 27th through the 29th at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield, presented by Home Genius Interiors. This is your chance to meet trusted local pros, explore fresh ideas, and get inspired for your next renovation or landscaping project. Admission is free, powered by Buckeye Decorative Concrete. 3 days, real experts, real inspiration. March 27th through 29th, the Clark County Home and Garden Show, where your next project begins.
Gem City Water, we're a local veteran-owned company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. Our water is tastier, healthier, and eco-friendlier. Visit gemcitywater.com for more info.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, welcome back. 416 here in the Miami Valley. I'm Justin Kinner. 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. You can also text the show as well. That I don't really understand what happened over the weekend with that the flag football game. We know that flag football is going to be, with the Olympics, not too far off in the distance, and Joe Burrow making it be known that he would love to play. I hope that the Bengals say no. And I'm being a hypocrite here because I got upset with the Cincinnati Reds for not allowing Ellie De La Cruz to participate in the WBC. But no, I lied. I'm not a hypocrite. Here's why. Because my reasoning is the same. I got mad at the Reds for not allowing Ellie De La Cruz to participate in the World Baseball Classic because I don't believe that the Reds have any intentions of investing into Ellie De La Cruz. We know that the Reds are not going to be able to afford Ellie De La Cruz, which means it's not like they can go to him and say, hey, we're really working on this, 10, 12 year, $700 million contract. We would just be more comfortable if while we are in the midst of working this out, we'd appreciate if you just did not participate in the World Baseball Classic. That's why I had a problem with the Reds because they can't afford Ellie De La Cruz, which means if you're not going to invest into him, why should he be cautious for you? That's how I am. The difference here is Joe Burrow should not be participating in any of these types of things. He should not be out there doing what he did over the weekend. And guys, you saw the clips of him diving around. He hit the ground pretty hard on a couple of those. It's a flag football game. And all you people he plays hard no matter what. Yeah, I see stupidity. I see a guy that hurts himself sneezing half the time, and he's out there running around and taking big hits in a flag football game with a team that has invested so much into him. It goes beyond just the money that they've given him. It's the way that they've invested into the offense built around him. You look at the money and by the way, I'm not, blaming Joe Burrow. Like the team should put offensive line out there, but they've put so much money into that offensive line. They've put $70 million a year into 2 number 1 wide receivers for you because that's what you wanted. And then you turn right around and basically slap them and the fans in the face by going out there and participating in a meaningless flag football game. And had he got hit, and people could say, well, he didn't get hurt. Who cares? It doesn't matter. There's so many clauses and contracts for professional athletes out there to not participate in any kind of dangerous, extracurricular activities, whether it be, going out and skiing. Tom Brady got in trouble. There was an issue between him and the Patriots one time because, he was out skiing one time, and he was not allowed to do that according to his contract. You can imagine why. Skydiving. I mean, there's clauses for some of these athletes to not participate in certain physical activity in the off seasons to protect because you're an investment. Oh, these teams, they don't look at these guys as athletes. They're just investments. You're damn right. You're paying Joe Burrow $55 million a year. I don't think it's too much to ask to say, hey, you get hurt a lot. You're kind of unreliable. You're phenomenal when you're on the field, but you're kind of unreliable. Can you just not be stupid and participate in a meaningless flag football game? Please? Is that too much for us to ask after giving you $55 million a year? Like I said earlier, I'm not a hypocrite. The Reds are not going to invest into Ellie De La Cruz. So I don't believe that they should have the right to ask him not to participate in the World Baseball Classic. Now, I don't want the dude to get hurt by any means either, but I'm just saying I think it's hypocritical of the Reds. Hey, we're paying you, well, not a lot, and we don't plan on paying you a lot, but we need you not to do this for us. I'd be like, nah, kick rocks. I'm going to go participate. But Joe Burrow, on the other hand, $55 million a year, a lot of guaranteed money, missed the playoffs 3 straight years, a lot of pressure on us to have a perfect offseason. We'd appreciate it if you wouldn't try to blow it all up by injuring yourself in, let me say it for the 100th time, meaningless flag football game. There you go. And I brought up the other fact that I'm not a hypocrite is because I got really annoyed with Myles Garrett participating in a lot of these all-star, basketball games in the offseason. And, he does a lot of stupid stuff in the offseason. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're reckless. You're paid a ton of money. What are you doing? I'm consistent with that. I'm not just picking on your boy, Joey B. So relax, everybody. This on the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel, Kelly. What up, Kelly? Kelly Rogers says the thing about Myles Garrett is he never gets hurt. Myles Garrett's never hurt. Oh, I'm with you. It's still a risk, though. You're still risking it. Like the Browns' only chance at winning games is because of that defense. And we know how, but you are right. I think what makes it a little bit more forgivable is he's so durable and he doesn't get hurt and he plays and he's reliable. It's different with Joe Burrow. He doesn't play. He's not reliable. And even when he does play, there's a stretch of games every year where we're like, oh, he wasn't right because he was still coming off of that pinky injury. He was coming off the wrist injury. All right. He had a liver transplant or whatever the heck it was with his appendectomy. You know, it was always something with Joey B. Always something. How about it not be anything this time? How about don't risk getting hurt and playing in a meaningless flag football game? Put your team first. I thought this one was interesting. What up, Chad? Chad says, hopefully this D-Hop rumor doesn't happen. Spend only on defense. There is talk of the Bengals maybe kicking the tires on DeAndre Hopkins. I don't mind D-Hop to Cincinnati. I just want to know what the dollars look like. You know, I mean, if you have a chance to, and look, I'm not ridiculous here. Like, I think it's stupid for them to be sniffing around looking at D-Hop. But if D-Hop is reaching out and his agent are reaching out and they're expressing interest in playing with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, I think that the Bengals would be reckless not to at least kick the tires on it if the number is right. But I do know this. I would like to give the Bengals some credit to where we know they don't like to give out contracts. So I don't think they're going to give him a bad contract. I think if he comes to Cincinnati, it would be on a very team-friendly deal if that's the case. All their eyes, dollars, and resources, though, need to be on that defensive end. I mean, if you get D-Hop as a number 3 wide receiver, that's just insanely stupid, and I mean stupid in a good way. I mean, you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and D-Hop. D-Hop's not the old D-Hop. You know, he's not the D-Hop of old. He is older D-Hop, but again, as your number 3 option, to go from never reliable, always wondering where the hell he's at, Jermaine Burton, to now, looking at the situation to where this is your number 3 wide receiver. I don't think it's horrific. Again, it just depends on the dollars. But if you're spending millions on him, I think that's kind of silly. Dollars need to all go to defense as far as that's concerned. But either way, I want to go to the text line. Thoughts on this? Out a week because of basketball, and you come right back and are ripping Joe Burrow. I'm done. Well, hold on. And this is Mike in Riverside. Mike, hold on before you continue on with your little temper tantrum here. Do you even listen to what I say, though? All right, do you even listen to what I say? Like, are you telling me, Mike, that you are fine with him participating in that game? I really want to know, Mike. I want to know. Respond in the text. I want to know, are you fine with him participating in that game? Do you think I'm being crazy? The Bengals have given him so much guaranteed money. They pay him $55 a year. He's always hurt. He's always battling an injury. And you think that I'm being crazy for saying I think it's wrong of him to play in that game when he's an injury-prone quarterback? I mean, is he not an injury-prone quarterback? I think he's an injury-prone quarterback. I think he is always prone to something. I don't know how you could say otherwise. But respond. I'd love to know. Do you even listen to what I'm saying? Because I don't think I'm being too hard on Joe Burrow. I think it's a fair critique. Risking an injury, playing in a stupid game like that is absolutely insanely just silly to me. This is from Mark. 937-518-1410. You could text in. This is Mark from Beaver Creek. He's mad. You just will never give Dayton any credit at all. If Wright State won 2 games in the NIT on the road, that would be the best thing since sliced bread. I don't have time to deal with sensitive UD fans today. I don't. It's not on the menu. It's not on the docket today. I'm sorry. Take your emotions elsewhere. If you want, there's some TV media members in town that'll be happy to put on some pom-poms to cheer on the Flyers in the NIT. But Flyer fans, for years, you have told me that the NIT means absolutely nothing. And now you want me to go bananas over an NIT run? You're playing bad teams. You're a team that should be in the NCAA tournament. You're a team that should be getting at-large bids. You're a team that should be dominating the A-10. And you want me to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because you beat a couple bad teams in the NIT. The mid-major invitational is what a lot of you snooty fans like to call it. But now that you're in it, it's respectable. It's the NIT. It's one of the most respectable tournaments out there all of a sudden. I'm not against Dayton being in the NIT or anything like that. I just get tired of fans doing this thing where, you'll compliment Wright State. Yeah, I'm going to compliment Wright State, who was super competitive in the NCAA tournament. who did what they're supposed to. They won their regular season title. They won their conference tournament. They were competitive in their NCAA tournament game. They've been there 3 times in 10 years. Yes, I excuse the heck out of me. Excuse me. Oh, if Wright State won a couple road games in the NIT, yeah, it would be a big deal for Wright State to win some games in the NIT. That would be a big deal for a program like Wright State because Wright State doesn't have an identity crisis that pretends to be something they're not. You, on the other hand, and your team, on the other hand, pretend to be in the Big East. You pretend to be a high major team. You pretend. And then when you come up short of expectations, then you try to hide behind the mid-major umbrella. If Wright State wanted, and I guarantee you, if Wright State was in the NIT and I was excited about it and talking about it, you would say, hold on, loser. It's just the NIT. No. Not playing that game. I don't have time for your feelings, and you don't have to have time for mine. That's fine. 937-518-1410. Yes, Dayton's in the NIT. They're hosting an NIT game because finally there's no state championship games or first fours or whatever the hell else is going on in the world of basketball, nonetheless. Man, Mark and Beaver Creek. If Wright State won 2 games in the NIT on the road, that would be the best thing since sliced bread. All right, Mark, Dayton won 2 games in the NIT on the road. They're the best thing since sliced bread. There you go. There's my take. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Let the good times roll. Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great time out with friends. Join us this summer for fun adult, youth, mixed, or travel leagues. Polking Bowling Centers have a program just for you. All full Summer League bowlers get a VIB pass and a chance to win cash and prizes. Ask about our Summer Pass where you can bowl for $1 a game. Limited days and times. And don't forget to ask about Kids Bowl free. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes, Dayton, Polking Woodman Lanes, Kettering, and Polking Lanes South in Centerville.
Spring is just around the corner, and big savings are in full bloom at Menards. Visit Menards Garden Center for everything you need to get your garden growing. Choose from hundreds of beautiful, colorful flowers, lush trees and shrubs, and everything in between. Menards Garden Center is back in bloom. Stop in today to get your garden on. Check out fresh deals happening now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Ready to free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at AmazonBusiness.com.
Take the next step forward in your career with Progressive Insurance. With great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefontaine, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back to the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Now UD fans are mad at me blowing up the text line, which you can too at 937-518-1410. I wasn't taking – look, I didn't take a shot at Dayton first, but when UD fans get mad because, this is a basketball city. We can't pretend to be a basketball city and then get mad because we spend more time talking about the team that made the NCAA tournament than the team that did not. Dayton fans, you're smarter than that. Let's do better. On the court and off, apparently. This isn't hard to figure out. I'm not rubbing it in. I'm excited about my team, just like you're excited about your team when they're in the NCAA tournament. And if the roles were reversed, you would not be saying, "Hey, Justin, the Dayton Flyers are in the NCAA tournament. I think you're spending too much time on them. You should talk about Wright State and the NIT." No, you would not do that. What are we doing here? All right, so we're talking about. I'm not a fan of Joe Burrow participating in that over the weekend. I just, in all seriousness, if you take what you know about me and my dislike for the Bengals and blah blah blah, because I'm a Browns fan. Okay, cool. Take that away. I don't think I'm being unfair here. I really do look at this situation with Joe Burrow, and I'll I've been a little bit of a smartass about it. I'll dial that back. I think that was wrong of him to participate in that. I do. I think it was a little selfish. I don't think that he was putting the team first. I think he was putting his self-interest first. And I don't like that. There's so much money invested into him in the quarterback position that making reckless decisions like that at the expense of the team. I mean, everyone's like, who cares? He didn't get hurt. Okay, that's a good thing. You're lucky. But what if he did? And it's not that unheard of to question what if he did. He's hurt and hurt a lot and hurt frequently. It doesn't take much. And it's not like, oh, he's always had a bad hamstring and he always re-aggravates that hamstring. I think his injury history is more concerning because it's never the same thing. It's 1 minute it's a pinky, the next it's an appendectomy, the next thing it's a wrist, and then it's a leg, and it's a hamstring, and it's a calf. I mean, you remember that game Operation where you're so terrified to touch the little buzzing sound? Like that's how I feel about Joe Burrow heading in every season. I'm waiting to hear the buzz and then everyone freak out because it zaps you. That's Joe B. It's never the same. It's never like, hey, be careful with the calf. He has a bad calf. He has a bad calf. He's hurt his pinky. He hurt his wrist. He had the leg injury, he had the appendectomy. Like, it's always something. I don't think that I am crazy for saying that, hey, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Now, Colton Schmidt, he's watching on the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page. What up, Colton? Colton, I'm not going to read all of this, but I'll start it. So Colton in the chat said, Justin, I totally agree with you. The flag football game that ESPN is trying to hype up is a joke and meaningless. I was literally listening to ESPN Undisputed on the radio this morning, and for the first hour of their show, they talked about this joke of a flag football game, acting like it's the best thing ever, when we clearly just had one of the best weekends ever in March Madness, and they didn't even start the show with that. Like, why does ESPN hype up stupid events like this? But and again, I can't read all of it. Yeah, ESPN, because it wasn't about the flag football. It was about the storyline. I mean, Logan Paul and Tom Brady verbally sparring. I mean, there was a debate about whether Joe Burrow and Tom Brady had beef, because Tom Brady's like 75 years old and, Joe Burrow is in his 20s, and yet they're going after the same women apparently or something. And that's led to some weird competitive, jabs being taken here and there. Yeah, it was all storyline driven stuff. But I tell you what, you want to know what the number one storyline would have been had Joe Burrow got hurt, which again, it's not that unlikely or crazy to think that he could. It would have been the injury, because it would have totally decimated the Bengals of having any chance of getting back to the playoffs after missing it for the last 3 years because, yes, the defense is bad, but yes, because of Joe Burrow's injuries. The defense is really bad this year. If they don't miss Joe Burrow for that long stretch of time, you win maybe 1-2 of those games, and you're in the playoff. You think back to 2 years ago, Joe Burrow doesn't hurt his wrist against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and the Bengals are in the playoffs. They finished 9-7 that year, or 9-8 that year. Like, yeah, it's just kind of, it is what it is as far as I'm concerned. I don't think I'm being that unfair. But let's talk about that. I know 937-518-1410. I see some texts coming in, but we got Big E, Mr. E, waiting on hold. How you doing, sir? It's been a while.
How are you?
I'm good. You have to repeat that because it cut out there for a second.
Okay, I said I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, okay. I got that part then. We're good. We're good.
I'm a lifelong Bengals fan. And I'm a big Joe Burrow fan also, but you're right. You're right. I have to give it to you. I was livid when I heard about what he was doing, and even worse when I saw some of the film. I'd like the chance to see Joe Burrow play 2 healthy years in a row and see where that would take the Bengals too.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know what they have in his contract. Surely they would have something in that contract that would keep them from going out and doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, like
And,
you hear about that with some teams. Like there are clauses in some. Like I remember, if you remember, I think I don't know if you caught it or not, but years ago when Tom Brady was with the Patriots, he got fined by the Patriots because there was a clause in his contract that he wasn't allowed to, like, no skydiving. You couldn't go skiing, and he went on a big skiing trip and posted videos or pictures on social media, and the Patriots fined him because in his contract he's not allowed to participate in those types of things. You're right though. One thing to think about, they probably don't have those, restrictions in his contract, which then you got to start asking why not, but I just wasn't a fan of that. He took some hard hits because when you hear flag football, some people are hearing that saying, oh my gosh, you guys are overreacting, it's flag football. But Biggie, you saw the clips, like he was taking hard hits and he was being taken hard to the ground and spin move diving. I mean, he played physical. He does what Joe Burrow does, and he's a competitor. He needed to dial that back.
Well, see, I go back a long way, and I remember back in 1967, the Boston Red Sox had a pitcher named Jen Lomborg, and he pitched him, almost won the World Series with him. He was fantastic, and he broke his leg really bad skiing over the winter, and there's your Cy Young Award winner, and he was never the same after that. And I think that's what started off putting those clauses in a contract. He was probably the first, but like I said, it's just pure stupidity to do that on his part, on the Bengals' part, for letting him. And that being said, that is what it is. The other thing I want to speak to you about is you also brought up about Ellie De La Cruz.
Yep.
And maybe letting him do it, maybe not letting him do it. Ellie De La Cruz, for me, he's made the All-Star team 2 years in a row. And I think it's kind of like on projection or hype that he's done that. His numbers don't stack up to superstar numbers at all. I mean, the guy strikes out nearly 200 times a year. As a shortstop, he leads the league in errors at his position, and his numbers went down. His home run numbers went down. His RBIs go down. Granted, he had a quad injury last year, and that could sure come into play. But I haven't seen anything yet that tells me he's going to put up the kind of numbers and things that's going to keep the Reds out of play when the time comes down the road when his contract is up. I mean, I've got to see more than what I've seen so far. I'm not down on him. And he sure has a lot of speed. He's got a lot of range. He's got all the tools.
Yep.
But over the years, I've seen that before many, many times. And I'm like, show me. I want to see it.
Well, and you're right. And the errors too has continued to be. I think it's because it's like, okay, if your strikeout numbers are down and you're still committing errors, we can overlook some of the errors, right? But like, you can't be one of the league leaders in strikeouts and one of the league leaders in errors, and go a month without hitting a home run. Like, I think some of the deficiencies were stockpiling last year, and it kind of opened the door to criticism. And I think it was fair criticism. And I actually agree with you. I think the hype train, he had the most electrifying, debut month of any Reds player that I could think of in my lifetime. And I still think we're riding off of that. But I think, it's all based on projection at this point. And it's like, I think we're not enjoying the ride with Ellie as much because we know we're on a limited time based on when he'll be up for a contract extension. And we're not confident that the Reds will do that. So with that being said, yes, this is an important season because we need to see that projected growth. We need to see those errors, those error numbers come down. We need to see those strikeout numbers come down. We need to see that power bounce back up. I'm also not even convinced that he's an actual shortstop, and I get why that's a controversial conversation to have. But, man, they need to make some adjustments with him, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, he has to be healthy, and he needs to produce, and those numbers need to come down.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that 35 home run year and the 110 RBI year, 280 batting average, and cut the errors in half. And I don't know that we'll ever see that, but that's what I got for you today. And it's nice to talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Great hearing from you.
I'll try to get around. And are you going to the opener?
Yes, I'll be there doing the show from Great American on Thursday morning, and then hanging out for the day for the opener.
Good deal. I'll be sitting behind the third base dugout.
Oh, we'll be way up high. Hopefully not getting rained on. Well, hopefully not getting rained
Well,
on.
if you look down to section 115, you'll know me from the white hair.
Oh, there you go. There you go. But all right. Hey, great hearing from you.
Okay, you take it easy, buddy.
Yes, sir. Take care. Bye. 937-518-1410. Nonetheless. Yeah, the LA thing, I think it's fair. You know, we've seen one really, really good year and one okay year. I think the problem with LA is there was no major growth last year. Now the quad injury, if that was true, and I believe it was true about the quad injury, but then you got to start to question it. I'm a big Tito guy. But if it's true that he was battling an injury all season, like this is where I don't trust the Reds with injuries. I just don't. You look at this Hunter Green situation where he talked about he had that procedure. He said going back to last year, it felt like little stinging sharp pains in his elbow, and that he played through it. And he said he felt it every time he would throw. And then the season ended, and they just never addressed it. And then he started feeling it again, I don't know, when he would throw. But, I had him on the show at Reds Fest, and I had asked, he said he felt great. But then he said he still only feels the pain when he throws. So were you not feeling that pain in the offseason? Was the medical staff for the Reds not being cognizant to checking on that regularly? And then this Ellie thing where, whose bright idea was it? If you knew that he was injured and battling a quad injury all season, why in the blue hell was he not being given more rest days? Now, I'm a hypocrite. I'm tired of athletes getting rest days, but I have no problem with rest days coming to those who are hurt. So the Reds continue to let Hunter Green go out there, your ace, by the way, and pitch with nagging, stinging pains in his throwing elbow. And then you also, when it comes to this particular thing with Ellie De La Cruz, you let him play almost every day. I mean, he was like, they were just talking about how durable he was and he doesn't want to miss games. And well, you knew he was injured with his quad was a little rough, and you don't say anything about it till after the season end. Yeah, I have a problem with that. My problem is, and this is why I'm concerned heading into the season, when you look at all the guys that are banged up, this blister situation with Nick Lodolo is a legit concern because I'm not falling for it again. Every time he gets a blister, I think, oh, it's just a blister. Where are my bowlers at? You ever bowl and you get that little blister? All right, cool. I'm going to not bowl for the next week, and then your finger's fine. You use some of that little new skin, your finger's good in a week. This mofo missed months because of a blister. Like, the Reds can't even heal a blister. The Reds let your pitchers go out there and pitch with nagging, stinging, sharp pains in your throwing elbow. Ellie played, 150-something games last year with the bad quad, and they knew about it and kept throwing him out there anyways. This is why I'm concerned about Hunter Green's injury. I'm concerned about, even the likes of a Nick Lodolo's blister injury, Ferguson's injury. I'm concerned about all that stuff. I'm concerned about all of it because I don't trust how the Reds handle injuries. On the positive side, Marty Brenneman was on 700 WLW this morning with his son, Tom. Marty's going to be on with us on Wednesday, by the way, just throwing that out there. But he said that he has not seen a player look more phenomenal through spring training than Matt McClain. And can you imagine what an elite Matt McClain would do for the Cincinnati Reds? You know what I mean? Like what he would do for them this season if Ellie is ready to rock. Like, here's the deal. I actually hope that Ellie's issues last year were quad related. Maybe some of those errors he committed was because, his mobility took a little bit of a hit with that quad injury. The strikeouts, maybe he's just a step slow, which he lost that power. I hope that it really was last year's injury, and I hope that it's not this year's injury. I hope that injury is a thing of the past. But if you get bounce back Ellie, and you have Eugenio Suarez, who's back from the World Baseball Classic, so you have his pop in that lineup, and, Matt McClain bounces back, it's almost like you got a whole new player. And I hate that because the Reds do this all the time. I'm like, hey, we have an injured player. Like, I guarantee you at the trade deadline when it comes to Hunter Green, the Reds aren't going to make a move at the trade deadline, but we're getting Hunter Green back at the end of July. So that's almost like an offseason, or that's almost like a trade deadline acquisition right there. That's exactly how they're going to view it. And that's how they've done it in the past. They try to tell you, hey, we weren't aggressive at the deadline, but we knew we were getting X, Y, and Z back. And we knew we were going to get a spark just from his return. That's what I'm already waiting for when it comes to the likes of the Hunter Green return when that time comes. Colton, what up, Colton? Says Ellie secretly wants to be a Dodger already. Look, Ellie wants paid. Ellie's going to get paid. Is he going to get paid in Cincinnati? Probably not. But to the last caller's point, saying that, hey, Ellie, with all his deficiencies, might be playing his way into an affordable contract for Cincinnati, and maybe. But, we call him a generational player. I've had multiple people say they cringe when I call him a generational talent. And normally I love to argue, but I understand where you're coming from. I'm basing a lot of my opinions on him based on the hype, yes, but the projection of where he's headed. But I also understand those who come back at me and say, Kenner, can you stop calling him a generational talent? Generational talents they're not one of the league leaders in strikeouts and league leaders in errors committed and go a month and some change without hitting a home run. I agree. It's hard for me to sit there and argue with you. He still screams superstar to me. Chris Collins in the chat says the superstars sell tickets. He's going to sell tickets. If he remains a Red, he will sell tickets. And he's a superstar from that because he's a draw. People will go to the ballpark to watch Elly De La Cruz. Hunter Green is a draw. People will go to the ballpark to watch Hunter Green pitch. I look at Andrew Abbott. Andrew Abbott, to me, has been a better pitcher than Hunter Green the last 2 years. He's been more reliable, more consistent. But I don't think Andrew Abbott is a draw. No one's going to the ballpark to say, I have to watch him pitch. That's Hunter Green. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, Brady Singer is a better pitcher than Chase Burns right now, right? Not as electric, but no one's paying money to go watch Brady Singer. I'll pay money to go watch Chase Burns because he's electric. And by the way, Chase Burns might be better than Brady Singer this year. Who knows? But that's where he's projected to go. And that's how it is. Elly De La Cruz, even with being one of the league leaders in strikeouts, even with being one of the league leaders in committed errors, he's still a draw. And Chris, you're right. People will go to the ballpark. That's one thing that the Reds did with Joey Votto that was so frustrating to me. You all know my take on Joey Votto. I've never said Joey Votto's bad. I was a fan of Joey Votto. You just wouldn't think I am. I got frustrated with Joey Votto because I started to question his competitive gene. All the Reds did with him after he got that contract, they lost, and lost some more. And at no point did I feel like he was getting anxious and sick of the losing. Now, I'll admit that I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite because I didn't like Joe Burrow's temper tantrum that he was throwing through the Bengals season. But the one thing you can't question about Joe Burrow is, does he give a damn? You know he gives a damn. Joe Burrow hated losing. He was dropping little hints throughout the season. What's the point of playing if I'm not having fun? He hates losing. The more the Reds lost, it didn't seem to affect Joey Votto. And I hate when people say, well, baseball's a different sport. Being competitive, I don't care what sport you're in. Competitive drive doesn't exist only in one sport, not the other. You either want to win or you don't. Joe Burrow, I know, wants to win. My problem with Joey Votto was, I'll never say he enjoyed losing, but did he hate losing? Was losing so debilitating to him that he had enough and demanded a trade? Everyone said the Reds couldn't trade him. He had a no-trade clause. I get that. But Joey Votto had the power to go to that front office and say, get me the hell out of here. Here's the list of teams I want to get to. Get me out of here. And the Reds would have obliged because the Reds would not have minded moving on from that contract, or at least a portion of it. So I bring that up because it seemed like once the Reds gave Joey Votto that contract, they stopped spending. Now, technically, after the Joey Votto contract, that's when they made the decision to not pay Cueto, which was a problem. But I don't think that say what you want about that time, but there was no way they were going to pay Cueto his going rate at that time. After giving Joey Votto that, it made just more sense to go the other route, and that's what they ultimately did. And it kind of blew up in their face, because he threw the multiple no-hitters and this, that, and the other. The bottom line is the Reds were content for the rest of that decade. Hey, come to the ballpark. So when Chris Collins said the superstars sell tickets, that was the Reds' philosophy. Come to the ballpark, watch Joey Votto. Not come to the ballpark and watch the NL Central competing Reds. Come to the ballpark, watch Joey Votto. And The Reds are going to spend big money on one player. And they did that. And the money wasn't even technically intended for Joey Votto. That's what's crazy. Walt Jocketty, when he came from the Cardinals organization to the Reds, the crazy part is when Albert Pujols was available, when he was embarking on free agency, obviously he ended up with the Angels, but it was Albert Pujols was down to the Reds and Angels of who he was going to play for. And the Reds were pursuing Pujols hard. Pujols ultimately went for the more dollars over there with, at the time, Anaheim. He went to the Angels. He could have been a Red. And had he gone to the Reds, Joey Votto would not have been a Red. But Joey Votto, the money obviously was there because Albert Pujols did not pick the Reds, and that's how Joey Votto ended up with that money. But the Reds, they're all about, hey, we have this superstar come to. So Elly De La Cruz strikes out a lot, commits a ton of errors, has been inconsistent offensively, but he's a draw. And that's what matters in Cincinnati more than anything else. Right or wrong, nonetheless. But to the Reds' credit, they had a good offseason. I know y'all don't want to give them credit for their offseason. I love their offseason. I think their offseason has been very good. I think they retooled that bullpen. I've made this comparison. I'm a Browns fan, and their free agency has not been that sexy because it's just been all about the offensive line. And, anytime that your team is retooling the trenches, it's usually not that sexy of an offseason. You get that big-name wide receiver, that big-name running back, you get that big-name quarterback. That gets you super juiced and excited, right? That big-name pass rusher. The Browns haven't been doing that. It's been all about getting offensive linemen, but the Browns are going to be significantly better next year just by upgrading that offensive line. And that's what the Reds did this offseason with addressing that bullpen. When you attack your bullpen in the offseason, it's not sexy. It's not going to get fans excited. Fans aren't going to realize how successful of an offseason you had until a month or two into the season when you realize, oh, this team closes out games. You know what I mean? This team, these stretch relievers, this lefty, this righty, whatever. Like that's where I'm at when it comes to. I think that the Reds, we're really going to appreciate their offseason more a month into the season, assuming these mofos can stay healthy, because that's been the biggest problem as far as I'm concerned, their inability to stay healthy. But yeah, that Suarez get was a cherry on top. And for him to have, 50, close to 50 home runs last year. Elly De La Cruz led the team. And Elly De La Cruz was not a home run hitter last year. He led the team in home runs. And the Reds went out and got the second best power hitter in free agency. I think, by revamping that bullpen, they got a couple in low and some of the key pieces that they added to. Like the Reds had a sneaky off. They had a very good sneaky good offseason. I like what the Reds did. They didn't marry anybody long-term, but they did enough to, put them in position to be very competitive in 2026. And I think NL Central competitive, but they got to get healthy. You're not winning the division if Hunter Green is having those nagging, stingy pains in his elbow that he was talking about. You're not going to win that division if Ferguson, one of the key lefties you got in the offseason, isn't available for the majority of the season. They have to find a way to get healthy and remain healthy and be consistent as far as that goes. Ann, I have not heard from you in a while. I hope you're doing well. Ann Anderson in the chat says, been gone for a week. Enjoyable vacation with no talking heads, no March Madness, no NFL, and no politics. Oh, come on. Let's talk politics. No, don't. I'm joking. As if there's ever a good time to talk politics without people wanting to rip their heads off. Let's just stay away from that. But Ann Anderson says, I have to admit, I didn't miss one bit of it, but it's always good to be back home. And I'm glad you're back home. Loving you tune in. Love hearing your opinions. Thank you for listening and viewing the show. Nonetheless. All right, that does wrap it up for us here today. Thank you, everybody. We're back to a normal routine with basketball not being done because the NCAA tournament is still ongoing. We're going to be talking college basketball. We'll be joined by Paul Frischner again tomorrow to put a bow on the season for the Ohio teams when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Looking forward to chatting with him. It looks like Cincinnati got their guy in Jared Calhoun. He played for Bob Huggins. All right. I think that's a very good hire for UC. What could that mean for keeping that roster intact? Obviously, Xavier did not lose their coach in Patino after 1 year, even with the Providence job opening up. Wright State showing in the tournament. Dayton, what would an NIT championship mean for a program that aspires to be a tournament team, not an NIT team? We'll talk about that with Frishy tomorrow as well, and Ohio State and others. So enjoy the rest of your night. We're just a few days away from opening day. The temperature's warming up, all of that. Love it. And until tomorrow, this has been the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN.